You take the high rise and I'll take the low. No, we're not going to Scotland. We're going to make some beautiful and new style trousers. And if you'll stick with me, I'll be right back.
So, what's new with George W. TRIPPON?
There are smiles that make us happy. There are smiles that make us blue. No smiles, please. Now, in pants, measurements are the most important thing. And of course, you use a measuring tape to take your own measurements. You do not need someone to come and take your measurements. Now, these are the measurements we take. One is sitting down. This is you sitting down. There's the chair. Now, on women, we measure the inseam far differently than we measure on the men. So let me tell you, on a woman, we find their waistline. Put a tape around the waistline if you have to define the waistline. Then you measure from the waist to the seat, and you've reached that area of what we will call our inseam. To the seat, please. What's the matter with me? You measure from here to there, and you've got your rise. All right. Along with that, what you will need in your measurements will be your waistline, and please, a loose, easy measurement. Like this. In fact, put 3 or 4 fingers on it, because there's nothing worse than pants being too tight, because if they're too tight, they ride up and back. Can you see the riding up? No riding up, please. And then we measure from the waistline, that's the waistline, to the hemline. And you measure yourself the same way. You have a chair, you have a prop, find your waistline. Measure as far as you can. To there, huh? Good. And from there, pick up your leg. Do you want it there or do you want it there? Just below the ankle is the best place. This is called the out seam. Now, if your out seam is 40 inches and your rise is 11 inches, oh dear, I don't know why I get into these things, then your inseam is 29 inches naturally. Now, the next measurement you take is around the hip line. Now, please, the hip line is at the largest part of where you are. Here, not up here. So you measure yourself loosely, please. Give yourself room. We can always shape it in and take it in. But if you don't have it in there, you might do this and your trousers are gone. Now, let me also emphasize hip. Can you see hip? We have all these measurements down for you. We will find that the smile in the pants is very, very bad. Really. And as I progress with this, you want your slacks to lay beautifully in here. And the minute you see a smile there, you're in trouble. And the way to get rid of this smile is the measurement of what we call the stride. The stride is that area from here to there going that way. You know? So you have to be careful about that, because if you don't have enough stride, it's going to pull your pants that way or pull your pants this way, so you need enough room that way. Now that, of course, comes in the pattern this way. And you take that measurement the same way. You don't have to stride yourself through your stride to get a stride measurement. Just stride yourself through your stride by coming from center front to center back, and by God, you got your stride. All right. Now, with that premise in mind, I'm talking about this area of the pants, here. And of course, you usually plan everything you do before you go to the sewing machine, because if you don't, you wind up with a skirt. I know. Many a time I've wound up with a skirt. We pair our pants. In pairing pants, that means you have a left side and you have a right side. And you have a back left side and a back right side. So you sew up one leg first. Should I be out here someplace so you can see my leg? Then this leg. When you have this leg together and this leg together, you put both legs together by way of the stride, you know. Now, in pairing the pants, you take this here. Oh, God. Now, this I know is the front. And this I know is the back. So I lay, oh, what's the matter with me? This is the front and that's the front. That's the front and that's the front. Right, right. I can tell by the notches. You see these two little notches match here? That's a pair. So if you put your darts in, you're working with the right side of the fabric or darts down. And then when you lay this leg on this leg here, the darts are up, so the right sides of your fabric are together. Now, we have paired this. And why it's important to sew up one leg first, from here to here, the inseam, and then the outseam, is because very often if you sew the outside seam first on this leg and the outside seam on that leg, then people start sewing the two front sections together here and you wind up with a skirt. A skirt with a stride in it. And where's the stride going to go? Really, you can't do that, really. So you've got to pair this, please. So once again, please, never reach in a box of pins full of snakes, blood all over your garment. Now, again, when you pin, please, you pin where the seam takes place. And then you match the seams. And once again, we pin at this end. Seams that sew one into the other must be of equal length. Then pin midway. And then the other side. You'll notice one side's wider than the other. The back leg is always wider than the front leg. Then we pin this, and then we pin up here, we pin the other leg. And as I'm pinning these, please be conscious of the fact and be thinking ahead that you have to have the zipper. The zipper's over there by the machine, good. Then pin the other. Now actually, if you know how to plan your garment, you don't have to pin all the way down like that, because later you'll just pin in one spot and pin here at this spot. And we'll be going to the machine in a couple of seconds now. So please stick around. Have a cup of coffee. If the coffee is sitting next to you, I'll be right back. Now we're ready to sew up these legs. So I'll put on my eyes, turn on the machine, and now we go on these long seams. We pin at the table.
There is one name known to every woman in America, Vogue. Vogue means fashion, glamour, and sewing know-how. All of the clothes made by Mr. TRIPPON on Sew What's New will be from Vogue patterns. Vogue has never before provided its fashion and sewing expertise to any television program. This is a first, something women have been waiting to see.
As I've said, notches are very, very important because, you know, notches are a roadmap for the operator. I'm the operator. Now, you trim here, pick this leg up, and I want you to notice how I sew the inseam of this without wasting any thread when we bring the second leg up. So just think you're a chorus girl someplace, you know, and you just kicked up this leg, and it's up there in the air, and you're matching notches, and here's a pin. Never sew over pins. When you people are sewing also, you're always watching the edge of something. I'm watching the edge of this screw right here, see? And that keeps that seam allowance even all the way. And once again, you guide all your fabric from in front of the needle here. Now you stop.
There is one type of program today that women will watch before a soap opera, before a game show. The program that can save her money. The Wall Street Journal reports that the home sewing industry is the second fastest growing industry in the U.S. No wonder. Every day of inflation, every day of rising prices means more and more women are sewing at home to save money. Now over 44 million women are sewing at home, according to the New York Times. All of your daytime audience is sewing or wants to learn to sew.
I'm awfully sorry. I just wrote the lyrics myself, you know. All right, here we go with our French song. Sew, sew, sew your seam, sew it nice and straight. That's right. Never watch the needle or you'll get a crooked seam. There. And of course, practice. Please practice. Practice, practice, practice on these straight seams. To sew straight. You must sew straight. If you don't sew straight, you sew crooked. All right, now we're going around the hip line. We've matched our notch. Isn't that lovely? Now we have 2 legs. Please, trim as you sew, I told you. Now, you take your arm, you go inside the leg, you pull it through. Then you have the other leg. You know, we do have 2 legs to put our pants on today, don't we? Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Now, how come you came out? See, I put a long stitch on it that should not have come out. Sorry. So while I'm fixing this thing right here, I'll let you rest for a minute. You all have a cup of coffee, huh? And I'll be right back. Now, of course, we put both legs one to the other, and we've turned them right side out, and we get the underseam seam here, which we lay open, and we pick up the underseam of the other leg, and we lay that open, and we put a pin there, and we make sure we match these seams also at the point where the stitching takes place, please. That is called a joined seam. Now, as I come around here, this particular pair of pants, trousers, slacks, whatever you want to call them, leg covers, is going to have the zipper in the front for a woman. Whatever for, I'll never know.
The demographics of this program are obvious. The shows are written, produced, and created by a woman for a target audience of women 18 to 49. And, as you can see, it is a program that women must watch. She can't turn the sound up and do the dishes or vacuuming and see the show. As a result, the commercials on this program will sell.
Whatever for. Wherever you have a zipper going in the pants, in a sleeve, in a placket, in a dress, you must always allow more seam allowance to make sure that you catch the tape, because there's nothing worser, as one of my students used to say, than to sew the zipper and then all of a sudden find that the seam is coming out from the zipper. So when we measure the zipper, I usually flip up this little lip and I trim away here, which gives me the half-inch seam allowance that I actually have around the waistline. We have a half-inch seam allowance.
We believe this program series will create strong sales response for a national or local sponsor. Every retailer who wants to sell the target audience of women 18 to 49 must be interested in this series. We will be going all out to boost sales through trade and promotional campaigns. Vogue will be providing national and strong local promotional support through each of its more than 8,000 retail outlets. Mr. TRIPPON will be doing personal appearances. When this show is on in your market, women will know it and watch it.
And we make sure we match everything. You talk to your fabric like you talk to the animals, you know. From here to there, pin. At this point, please, we always pin where the stitching is going to take place, and this is the inch indentation. You don't know where the inch is? Well, let me tell you something. They've made all kinds of measuring things here, and I have my little ruler in here, don't I? Well, there it is. Measure. Oh, if you women will only measure. The reason clothes never fit is because you never measure, or you measure too tight. Oh. So measure in an inch. Oh, I feel sorry for you all in 2 years, especially the new generation. We're going to the metric system, you know. Oh, so instead of a 24-inch waist, you're going to have a 68.5 metric waist. Terrible. Now we go into the half-inch here. Start sewing at that point here of the zipper. There. We're going from 1 inch into a ½ Make a shorter stitch there so that the stitch doesn't come out at the end of the zipper. No drafts, please. Close all your seams. And then you go into your ½ I'm going around that stride area now, where you're going to get the room. In fact, when you sew under here, you can even stretchez-vous, as we say in French here. Stretch. And that stretches a stride, and you sit down comfortably. Oh, you have lots of room. You need room, you know. Comfort, when you reach my age, it's comfort first. Why, yes, when I go to the mountains roughing it, I stay in the swank hotels. Now we finished that. There, the thread went. Stop the camera. Oh, no, it didn't. I thought it did. You see, I didn't do what I tell people to do. The feed dog, that's the thing that brings the thread up and down. It's supposed to be up the top, and it was down. Never, never pull the thread when the feed dog is down, or it bites the thread off. All right, now we put the zipper in. Let me show you how simple you put in the zipper. From this fold area here, you come to your 1 inch here, like so. And you sew, and you pin, and you pin, and you sew, and you pin it to hold it for you, please. And you do the same thing with the other side, right there. And you pin it. So you have your inches up, folded back, up. What am I talking about? Really, George. Now you take your zipper, and when you railroad a zipper, please watch. Overlap, don't bring it just to the center, overlap it slightly. Open the zipper, because you can't sew over that bump unless you have one of those zipper feet, and I don't have time to put on a zipper foot, and I hate zipper feet anyhow. So I sew along here. Come on, sew, please. Go, 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 go. You get out of the way. That pin wanted to get into the act, you know. Now, with the zipper open, it's very simple because you just overlap there, and again you're watching on the outside edge and keeping that edge along here evenly. Now I'm reaching that bump. So put the needle in there, pick this up, and then close the zipper back that way. And please trim as you sew. I keep telling you. And then you come down to the bottom here. Bring this down. You're overlapping this slightly. Come down past that point, turn square, and check that you're not going to hit that metal. There's nothing worse than a broken needle, believe me. I hope you have a lot of needles on hand.
Unfortunately, no man can really judge this program. Only the reactions of women create its audience. Vogue employed the research firm of Reiter and Wilkins to find out what women thought of the programs and of George TRIPPON. Vogue is involved with the series because of these kind of typical comments from women.
How did you feel about the letters themselves?
Oh, I liked him very much.
Good.
I really did.
You did too?
Yeah, I thought he was interesting. I really did.
I expected to see a woman when you turned it on, and it was like a double take.
Yeah.
You know, who is this? Maybe he's just the announcer. You know, and all of a sudden he's pinning and sewing. And
He could be put on.
I mean, it was very different than what you're used to, and I think it's
I think I had a very good. I think by the same token, if they had a Burt Reynolds up there sewing his face, the Frank would be false. You
find his real sense of humor very amusing.
I thought so too, rather than some of the women I have seen.
What really got me to like him, he drew a bow and says, to George something with walls. Well, that cracked me up, because I like a little humor. In fact, I could have watched him for another half hour.
How many of you feel you'd be interested in watching a program like this?
I think 10 o'clock in the morning is a great time.
Put it on opposite the baseball games.
If I knew this program was coming on, I would drop everything to watch it.
Like this, I would actually let my work go and sit back and watch it, because it's important.
Those of you who have expressed an opinion, I think, are basically saying that you like him, you're amused by him, and you like him.
Oh, I like him better each time.
I think he's good. I think he's very interesting.
You say you think he grows on you?
I think he would. Yeah.
And I would enjoy watching something like that. I really would.
Oh, I would definitely watch him. Basically, women like men who are a little bit feminine. Somehow they hold your interest.
And I would watch it.
I find myself very humored by him, and in learning at the same time, I enjoyed it.
And I think we need something like this.
You ladies have really said positive things about this program.
Exactly the same way. You never sew over pins, and I'm afraid that we're not going to get to the other part, but it is done exactly the same way, so that when this turns back, it is finished. This turns down and will be top stitching along here. Ciao, darlings.
Clifton Webb, the Liberace of the sewing machine? No matter how you describe him, George TRIPPON is a star personality for women. So what's new? Well, women are. They want effective, personalized programming. Why not give it to them with So What's New and improve your ratings and your sales?